Okay, we are recording.
Okay. All right. Spotlight. Can you spotlight me or?
Yes. How do you one actually do such a thing?
Stop your screen share.
Okay. I was going to say you're a co-host, so maybe you can actually just. For some
I,
reason,
I
my mouse.
spotlighted him, but you need to stop your screen share.
Yes, got it. Okay, my thing gets very cranky about my mouse for some reason.
Okay, everybody. This is Steve. I'm the president. We're going to have our meeting for November 19th. We're doing everything virtual now. Generally, we start with a little bit of show and tell. Is Valerie here? Val? Okay.
She was here a moment ago. She said she was switching to her. She's here. She's here. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I didn't realize we're going to be starting with show and tell, but let's get that going.
Valerie, your volume is a little low.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can adjust that.
Are we going to do Harvey next, Eric?
No. We'll do the Paul Wing presentation next.
Okay.
I don't know how to quickly get my volume to be higher. I'll just speak louder. Does that help?
Yeah.
Not very much, but Valerie, it was much better before. What were you doing before?
Right. I was on my iPhone. I could put on. Yes, I was on my iPhone. Maybe.
It's okay. We can hear you well enough.
Okay.
Valerie, just real quick, right next to your mute button on the lower left corner, if you go to the up arrow and go to audio settings, then you'll see a volume control under where it says microphone.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yes, I see that.
You got it?
It doesn't seem to be changing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe because it thinks I'm using headphones. I don't want to hold this up. Do you want to? Would someone else like to just start?
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do the...
Yeah, it looks like David Starkman has a show and tell item.
Yeah. Thank you, David.
Well,
let's see what you have.
You work on that well, a little something. This, I think, is kind of unique. This viewer, I forget the exact date. I think around 1980, there was an expo in Japan, and they put out a series of slides in their own slide mount format. I guess the width is actually the same as Stereo Realist. Here's a 7-perf mount next to it. So it's a bit taller, but the width is the same as Stereo Realist. So you could put in a viewer. But the aperture, this is a 7-sprocket mount here. And it's like the RBT 33 millimeter wide aperture. And the viewer is kind of unique because if you see this slider on the top, you see the stereo slide and the infinity symbol. So when it's at the infinity symbol, this is a pair of binoculars. It slides in some lenses, and when you slide it over, it changes the focus distance. And putting in a slide, maybe you can see it from this side. When you put a slide in, it pushes down a diffuser, and then it becomes your slide viewer. So I don't know if there's I don't think I've ever seen an attempt to combine a pair of binoculars and a stereo viewer. And then I don't think we've ever scanned these. I just was looking at them. There's some interesting pictures from this Japanese expo. And I haven't seen a date. It's all Japanese, but I think it was around 1980 in Osaka. So, and I don't know I'll have to get somebody I'll have to send this to Momoko and have her translate it.
Takashi's online, I think.
Oh, or maybe I can use Google Translate. I hadn't thought of that. At any rate, that's my show and tell. And the crazy little symbol on it is a little running a piece of film with hands, feet, and a big nose running along. So
Brilliant.
that's my show and tell.
It's awesome. Wonderful. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Better, a lot better, much better.
On the audio settings, I was able to work it out during that time. Wonderful. Do we have, thank you so much, David. That was really interesting. Can't wait to take a closer look at that. Is there another person that would like to share an item?
There's one. Jim Long.
Okay, I was out at the Lake Havasu a couple weeks ago. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And my wife loves going to swap meets. I don't particularly care for them, but I go with her. But while I was there, I came across, you know, what one man's trash is another man's treasure. So I came across this Big Bird 3D camera. And I said, wow, but what it really is like a Viewmaster. And you look through there and you see some really simple, cheesy Big Bird pictures. They're really bad. So what I plan on doing is actually taking it apart and putting in my own Big Bird pictures. And actually it's out of alignment. One of the images is slightly off, so I got to fix it anyway. But, you know, I was just so excited to see this. The guy was looking at me like, what are you so excited about, dude? I'm like, oh, you have no idea. You know, he just made my day coming out to this swap meet. He says, oh, I'll be glad to part for a sum total of $2 for this little item at this swap meet. So made my day. It was kind of fun.
Can I tell you one thing about it, Jim?
Sure.
You may have an interesting time putting your own pictures in, because if I remember correctly, are you familiar with the format of the Viewmaster Mark II?
No.
The film runs through at a slight diagonal, and the pictures, well, I'll come back with a piece of cut film.
Well, once I take it apart, I'll see what the task is, whether I even want to do
Yeah.
it. So I'll take it apart.
The film runs at a slight diagonal, and it's in a continuous loop. And, it's well, you'll see.
I can't tell whether they're actually transparencies that you look through, because these are like diffusers at the front that diffuse the light.
It's got transparencies in it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
So they're really bad. I mean, they're really bad.
Yeah.
So I'll see when I get it apart. There's just a couple of screws that hold it together. So when I get nerve, I'll just take it apart and see what's
To me,
in
the
it.
funniest thing about it is they called it the Big Bird 3D camera, and it's got two lenses to view, but they didn't put two lenses on the take. They could have just made fake lenses where the diffusers are.
So you've seen one of these before?
We have one.
You have one?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, that's my show and tell.
Thank you so much.
Here, Jim, this is ours.
Susan found ours.
Yeah, your label looks about actually. Oh, what happened to my label? Actually, I think it just fell off. Oh, here it is. Here's the label. It fell off. I have to put it back on. About the same as my label. Yeah.
Faded. Faded.
There we go. Now you can see the label on it.
Well, it's our treasure.
Yeah. It's worth $2.
Yes.
Oh, you got a good deal.
Yeah, that swap meet person probably had no idea it was going to entertain a group of 50 people. And Dave, you mentioned that this was the second version, the Mach 2 version. Why do you think that they angled the film on that?
Oh, if you do another show and tell, let me grab a piece of film and come back with it, and I can show you the reason why.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Wonderful.
There was another treasure I bought, but I'll show you next month. So I got two treasures. Couldn't believe it. Two in the same swap meet. So I'll show the next one next month.
Wow. Terrific. Thank you, Susan, for finding yours. And so we have now a stereo pair of the both.
You can do stereo.
Yes. Great. Does someone else have something they'd like to share? Oh, Dave has come up with the film.
I think I need a piece of white paper to go behind it. There, hold on. You can see this. When you hold the film horizontal, you see how all the pictures look angled because they actually, I should get the camera too. They go through the camera this way. And the reason is, you've got your pairs. I think I'm gonna have to, hold on. So I guess like here and here is something like one pair. And it moves 3.5 sprockets, I think, each time, not to waste any film. But I think they were able to, I think they use this because they can go through a continuous loop and get more pictures on a shorter piece of film than if they did them literally interspacing side by side.
Gotcha.
It's an utterly bizarre layout.
If you
Yeah,
take it apart and discover-
I'll leave it alone. When I look at that, I'll
Yeah.
just leave it alone.
Well, if you do take it apart and discover something differently, this is all from memory. If I got it wrong, I'd love to hear what you find inside. I don't want to take ours apart.
Well, it would be interesting to see if it's the same angle as a ViewMaster Mark II.
Well, I
because
think
then
they're
you could
pretty
take pictures.
critical on it.
You could,
I got to get the Mark
If-
II.
if-
I'll be right back.
if it's the same angle, you could take a series of pictures with a ViewMaster camera and then load them into the Big Bird viewer.
That would be true, yeah.
Not worth it, Eric.
Maybe not unless somebody did a digital template for the Mark II.
You'd have to have like a year's worth of nothing to do something like that.
Dave, I'm so glad you
Oh.
found that really made a difference to be able to see how it was laid out.
Oh, okay.
Have another person that would like to share something. It's Madam Shifley from Parallax Shift.
You have to unmute, Alicia. You're muted, girl. That's just as well. You're muted,
See if I-
Alicia. We can't friggin' hear you.
Hold on. I'll send her an unmute
Can you
request.
unmute her?
Hi.
All
Yeah.
right.
There we go.
Start that now, don't they? How you doing? All right. So this is my boyfriend Sam's camera, actually, because he's kind of kicking my butt in the rare camera department.
Yeah.
So this is a graph check sequence camera, and maybe you want to tell a little bit about this camera while I open it up.
So this was made by Polaroid, I think, in the 1960s, and it was designed for largely for analyzing like sports shit, like golf swing or your, or if you're, I don't know, or diving or whatever it is, and it's a pretty nifty thing. I love the way the shutter cocks like this.
Yeah, I already have it on.
So it has multiple settings for the shutter speed is always the same, but the offset by which each of the individual shutters go off is controlled by this dial. So this is with a sort of a slower sequence. There's sort of like a medium, goes like 1 through 10.
It's got that sweet action.
Sweet action. Very satisfying, kind of like cocking a gun almost. So that's like a medium setting, and then at super fast setting, near instantaneous like that. So there's a couple versions of this camera. Apparently, from what I've read, the version that has this little secondary tripod screw here means that the shutter speed is 1,000th of a second. The one that lacks this is a 1/25th of a second, which you have to figure if it was used for analyzing, sports in action and any kind of time sequence, you want a fast shutter speed like that. Because unfortunately it doesn't have flash sync, because that would be pretty darn cool if it did. And it was made to work with Polaroid sheet film, like the individual 4x5 sheets, which at the time I think the main speed available for that was 3,000 speed or somewhere in that range. So it's pretty fast film for outdoors use, and it has a dull, normal, and
bright setting, which corresponds to about, I think, like f8, f11, and f16. But what I like about it is that you can actually take this holder out if you're not a total imbecile about it, like I'm being.
Got it.
And you can just put regular 4x5 sheet film in here as well. So it still has a useful life in that way.
Well, that was a Polaroid back you had on it?
So this is for a
Yeah,
photo
this
finish.
This is a 545 sheet film back. So for the individual, peel apart Polaroid sheet film, which is, well, in my refrigerator, there's plenty of it still, but that's long gone the way of the dodo. But you can still use it with regular 4x5 sheet film, which is excellent.
But was this for
Yeah.
track and field?
I'm sorry?
Was this for track and field? Like photo finish?
Yeah, for stuff like that. Just any kind of it's for analyzing sports.
Yeah, and horse racing maybe.
Yeah, stuff like that. Although one of the weird quirks about it though is that when you cock the shutter, it actually opens it fully as you do it. So you have to be careful to not pull the dark slide until after you cock the shutter, which is kind of a funky thing. And it's a pretty fun thing, and it can give you, up to any number of combinations of stereo pairs if you were so inclined.
Or 2 sets of lenticulars.
Or 2 sets of lenticulars, across the top and the bottom.
Very cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, really nice.
It's amazing. I've never seen that.
I have one more question.
To me sometimes.
Yes, and I'm Alicia's show and tell. This is my show and tell.
Yay!
That's very cool. I got to ask you one question. Where did you get that belt buckle?
Oh, this. I got it at the belt buckle store. Oh, actually, if we want to have a little bonus show and tell here.
Oh, wow, he's going to get his bonus belt buckle. You just had to say that.
I like that one.
That's what the bonus is that he has 2 of them.
You can put it in the chat later. I didn't mean to take a lot of time with it.
No. We're allowed to have belt buckle discussions with this one because,
Okay. So,
he's still my belt buckle heart.
yeah, so this is one of my favorites. So this is my Vivitar belt buckle, which I actually lost this, and I was so traumatized by losing it that I bought another one, and then I found this one. So now I have one in brass, and I have one in pewter.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So there you have it. A little sizzle for the steak there.
Ta-da! Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to go back to gluing that light meter.
Yes, you can glue your
Okay,
light.
I think we'll do one more and then.
As long as we're looking at belt buckles, I have some
Okay.
pins that are rather interesting. This company called Official Exclusive. Let me see if I can get myself up on screen here.
You want to stay on anaglyph?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
good
like it.
idea. Let me.
I like the anaglyph.
Okay, I'll stay on anaglyph.
Okay.
So this company, Official Exclusive, puts out these limited edition pins, and I just bought several of them. First, they did a Viewmaster. Maybe I'll turn off the anaglyph just so
Is
I can
that
hold this close to
cloisonné
the
or?
lens. They're enamel. Yeah. Here, I'll go to 2D for a moment. Okay. So they've done a
Wow,
Nice.
a Viewmaster.
that's beautiful.
That's pretty nice.
They've done a Nimslow.
Wow.
Oh, it's really realistic.
They've done a Nishika.
Yeah, but that one's really a piece of crap.
And
All
I've
right.
done this one.
Wow.
Man, that's the best one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Well, Viewmaster's nice too. Is
That's
is that their website, officialexclusive.com?
Yeah, that's their website. And I think they're doing a deal, or at least they were doing a deal when I ordered these a couple weeks ago, that if you bought 3, you got 2 more free.
Wow.
So I bought the 3 cameras and got the 2 Viewmasters.
cool.
Are the 2 of the same Viewmaster, or do they have 2 different ones?
Yeah, I got 2 of the same Viewmaster. I was hoping they'd have another Viewmaster, but they only had 4 that were stereo related.
That's
Okay.
a good call, Eric. Thank you. It looks like Carl has something to share. Do we have time for Carl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do
see,
Carl
where
and
is
then
Carl?
And
yeah,
now,
we'll do
I'll
more
just- I'll do
sharing
this,
at the end of the meeting.
I'll do this real quick. I had found this in an antique store locally, and this thing was driving me crazy. I couldn't figure out what it was, and I finally figured out that when these things were originally manufactured, the back of them was solid, but the guy who owned it had carved out this nose section here, and he cut these out. Not 100% sure what the intent was when he did this, but he made his own stereo cards, and this came with it.
oh,
This massive stack of homemade stereo cards, and he cut them. It bothers me because it's like, I want to know who this guy is. He was a really good landscape photographer, and he made all of the stereo cards are double-sided. So,
Wow.
you know, like in this instance here, it looks like maybe this was taken up in Bryce Canyon. There are a few pictures with people in them, and they look like they were probably taken in the, geez, I want to say from the way people look, maybe 30s or 40s. But the thing that trips me out is this one in particular was thrown into it, and it's almost like he shot this with a splitter of some sort, because it's one photo. It's not, they're not separate. And the only clue as to who I have to who this fella might be is on the back of this card. I don't know if can you see that there?
Oh, in the mirror. Yeah.
He's
got
in it.
flowers there, and he's peeking out behind it.
Accidental self-portrait.
Right, and but they're all double photos that he's mounted on these hand cut cards. Anyway, I found this in an antique store, and I think they wanted, $40-$50 for it, and I was like, snagged it immediately. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool because I like to make stereo cards too, and to find all of these, I wish I knew who they came from. Anyway, that's it. that's my share. And I'm sorry. And then, yeah, the cutout on the back of the viewer might be, he had this card here, and this probably lines up with the back of this viewer, and it does. So I don't know what the intent was, but he was obviously doing it on a budget by cutting this out. Anyway, there you go. There's my share.
very. Thank you, Carl.
Have you got a few minutes that I could show something?
We can do more show and tells at the end of the meeting.
Well, I just asked because Jim McManus is here now too, and he's 3 hours later in the evening there.
Oh, yeah, he's on the East Coast.
I'll be quick.
Hello, everyone. Hey, how you doing, Valor?
Great. Nice
Good to see everybody. Yeah, I'll have to duck out at some point, unfortunately, just because I'm packing up for an audio job I have in the morning. So getting late over here on the East Coast. But I thank you guys for inviting me to your meetings. This is always fun.
Yeah. So let's see. I just put in a request to share the screen. If that's okay. It's just going to take a couple minutes. Have anaglyph glasses ready. I'm screen sharing. Okay. Then here. Okay. New book is coming out. Just thought I'd give you a quick tour of it. It'll be available in about a month, give or take. Format is too many words on these pages, but then a little bit in the way of a tutorial and a secondary one where there's masking involved. And from that point on, just images. There's an anaglyph and then a right, left, right 3 set. And anyway, I'm starting to take orders on my website. Some of you have already emailed me you're interested, but it's essentially a $25 deal. If you use the code 25 on my website, if you go to macrophant3d.com, macrophan3d.com.
I'll put that in the chat.
There'll be there's some information and a link to ordering, but if you use a code 25 when ordering, it's $25 delivered within the US. If you use a code 30, it's $30 and I send it by FedEx instead of media mail. But that's pretty much it. Have a sense of the way the book is laid out, and it ought to be pretty cool.
Nice.
So.
Those images are beautiful.
Yeah.
Barry, I have a question. Those anaglyphs, they look really good. The colors.
Let's talk to Jim about that.
Is
Yeah,
there a
Jim,
secret?
tell him about
Is there a
what
secret?
we did, or what you did.
Is there a secret formula, perhaps?
Yeah.
Are you saying? Actually, yes, there is, Steve. Thank you for asking. Technically, this is the official debut of the McManaglyph in printed form. As most of you know who have met me throughout the years at various conventions, I've always liked anaglyphs because, to me, they have certain advantages over their parallel or their cross-view cousins, in that the images can physically be larger in the same amount of space, and you can view them from any angle at any distance with any type of red-blue glasses. That, as long as you have 2 working eyes, people can see it instantly. They don't have to I think I got it in focus or anything like that with lenses. Now, obviously, a lot of us can parallel view and cross view too. So those are all in this book. And I thought Barry did a really good job with the layout. First of all, his images are fantastic. And those of you who are familiar with Fanagrams over the years, he has done a great job of explaining how he shoots these things as well to give it that such a lifelike appearance. And now he's done a book of macro phantograms, hence the name Macrophant. So he literally has like a frame in one hand and his camera in the other, and he's doing close-ups of subjects in nature, of flowers, and there's some bugs in there as well. And it's just really beautiful, beautiful images. So he approached me, and I'm very fortunate that he did. And I feel honored to have been considered to help him with this book, because he wanted to be able to present these in anaglyph form as well as parallel and cross view. And unfortunately, we all know that anaglyphs can, have bad color rivalry, especially all those vivid colors in nature. And I didn't want to have to, and he didn't want to have to remove all the color and just do black and white images. So to me, that's always been unacceptable. And over the years, I've developed what has now become affectionately known as the McManaglyph, just because, I work almost exclusively in anaglyphs. Those of you who've sat in on my conversion workshops know that I do that in anaglyph, and I'm still able to do a full color pair when I'm done. So this is the official printed debut of McManaglyphs. And I think you guys will be really pleased. Only in a couple of cases do they exhibit natural ghosting due to the printing process, where like a color overlaps the white part of the page. And Barry did a really cool thing on a few images where he masked the image to appear to come out over the edges of the image itself. And overall, they're just stunning to look at. And I'm really proud of the way that everything came out. So thank you guys for giving us a few minutes. And I don't know if Barry wants to show you some more images, but there's certainly plenty to show. I've actually got a proof here that arrived last week. It's it's 11 by 14 inch book. And of course, all my pages are not bound yet. I believe it's going to be, is it going to be spiral bound, Barry? So it can lay
It's
flat?
the hidden ring binding. They called it an O-ring binding, same as my other books.
Okay, cool. That's always great because I like it because you don't have to bend the pages, unlike if they were attached, glued into a spine.
And here, I'll just show you one interesting image that that kind of just points out. Take a look at this one. Imagine trying to make anaglyph out of that image on the right. It's like a fuchsia, bright red color, and take a look at the resulting anaglyph from that. I mean, granted, it's dark and you're not getting the detail that you do free viewing and whatever else, but that would have just caused massive retinal rivalry, and he's
what it
done
looks
some
like.
things to make it a very nice anaglyph image.
Yeah,
a lot of colors
if you
too.
look through your anaglyph glasses at the right, left, right.
Very interesting.
Yeah, you'll
because
see how
you can
bad
see
it
the
flashes.
original color in the triple below.
Yeah. And so I would use the original image as my guide for, playing around with all my secret tricks and recipes in Photoshop to do an anaglyph that has basically the natural color. And of course, reds is the toughest because that's what gets filtered out the heaviest.
Anyway,
Very nice.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thanks
giving
for
me
showing
some
us.
time.
Excellent. Good job.
Okay, David Starkman, I think you're going to talk about Paul Wing.
Okay, let me share my screen.
David is our archivist along with Susan Pinsky.
Okay, and let me full screen here. There. So have you guys seen this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is one of the pages. I guess I should go back a second. If you go to the shortcut, if you go to www.3dlegends.com, which you see at the top of the page here, 3-dlegends.com. These are all people, other than Susan, who's the creator. These are all people who are no longer with us. Some have been club members, and others are people we've known, and others are people from 3D history. And Paul Wing, I believe, was a club member, even though he lived in Hingham, Massachusetts. His main interest, he was a major collector of antique stereo viewers, and he eventually put together a fabulous book. Can you see me also, or just the sharing screen? Well, yeah, I guess I'll get to it here, but he had a fabulous collection of vintage stereoscopes, and we've got a lot of pictures from displays he did at conventions. And if you haven't been on this page before, if you click on one of the small images, it'll enlarge to a left, right, left format. And these are like some viewers from his collection at one of the conventions. Here's another view. So this is typical of the kind of things he had, and he had lots of them. And he also collected, he was also a great 3D photographer. He specialized in cha-chas, macros, and hyperstereos.
Can you click on the mountain shot?
The mountain, okay. This one is, I think, oh, sorry, it doesn't get bigger. If we didn't have a large original, unfortunately, this one's not getting bigger. But some of these, he actually got great shots like this from commercial flights.
Oh, okay.
You know, and you know, we always get stuck over a wing. Here's his book, which also isn't enlarging, sorry. It's called Stereoscopes, The First 100 Years. And it's the only really comprehensive book, starting from the very first stereoscopes, you know, like, I don't know, in the 1850s or 60s, up through about the 1930s and 40s. These are some that were in his home. We took that shot in his living room, a cabinet.
Wow.
With some interesting viewers in it. And there's some more pictures from one of the conventions he did a display.
Wow.
And this was, David Berter did a lenticular portrait. And this was an attempt we took a picture of the portrait by shifting the camera over. And it was taken with this camera, which has like, I think 24 prisms in the front. And anyway, and some of them are some of his 50s pictures and a lot of assorted viewers. He's one of the few people that owned a working Leap stereo camera. Very few were made. A lot of people lost money on it, trying to buy one. Yep. Oh, Susan wanted me to show you there's a daguerreotype. Did I pass it or am I? Sorry. Anyway, we have a lot of pictures of Paul. We knew him for many, many years, so we included pictures taken by him and of him. There's a particular photo Susan wanted me to find. Oh, there it is. After a convention where there was a daguerreotype convention in Massachusetts, one of the people there who did modern stereo daguerreotypes, we paid to have him come take a stereo daguerreotype of the four of us. So each one is an original. It's on, you know, a silver coated copper plate, and it has to be developed in the camera, or, you know, it's exposed in the camera, and there's only one original. And so he took, I think, four or five originals to get a couple of good ones. We had to stay still here for the reason we're all posing like that. I think we had to stay still for about 24 seconds for this picture, which was taken in Paul's backyard. And we borrowed some props of his viewers for the picture. So that's a little overview of Paul Wing. And Ron Labby, back, I forget the year, but I think 1994-ish or something, did an interview of Paul Wing with a Toshiba 3D camcorder, which is, I think, about a 480p resolution VH tape, compact VHS tape stereo camcorder. It was the first stereo camcorder to be made, and I guess the only one up until we have the more modern digital video cameras. So I'll stop sharing, and Eric has that video to share, unless there are some questions first. Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, we'll go ahead. And we'll be playing the video back in anaglyph. So you'll want to get your anaglyph glasses, red lens over your left eye.
Hingham, Massachusetts, as we say in the show and tell at the FISI meetings. These are just a few viewers that were showing in a nice setting. Everything is included here kind of from in the 1920s and back, but I don't collect anything after the 20s. I leave that all to Ron Labby. He's getting quite a collection of that stuff. For instance, this is stereo camera, French, 1910 probably. It's quite nice, and it's very common. As a matter of fact, it's a common type of camera. It's sitting on its own tripod socket, which is a tapered pin in a little hole. So it's kind of nice, and I have all the accessories that go with it, and it came with lots of them. All kinds of different viewers and so forth. The nice things are, this viewer here. If you want to buy that from me, it would cost you $1. There's an American booster that was made in the United States, almost certainly, although they never put a name on them. Anthony sold these, it was now Ansco, around 1860. It's a nice viewer. Then you couldn't get what you ought to get for it. That's one of the problems with anything like that. This one has a donut-shaped, a cylindrical lens holder, and it tips this way for looking at one set of slides, and then you roll it over and tip this way and go and turn it around and look at the other side. This was held on by elastic bands, which I had on here, now they've broken off. But that's what they used originally, with elastic bands. I have all the patents on that type of viewer. And, he made many others, right up through 1870 or so. I'll put that down here somewhere. What else could I tell you about Becker's viewers? I can't say much. I can't quite bring those together. But it's a rather nice little model viewer. I think it could stand being polished up a little and varnished a little better. All this clutter has to do with my trying to write a book on stereoscopes. That stereoscope's up until 1930, roughly. There's no such thing as an exact date. And I'm on the last couple of chapters now, and right now I'm working on a chapter called Odds and Ends, or something like that. These odd viewers, like this one here, for instance. Oh, here's another one. I don't know who the hell made that. I mean, I don't know. It's Canadian, I think. It comes from Canada. Some guy that made it, and it is automatic. It feeds slides by pushing on a lever down below, but it never was patented or anything like that. And here's a typical ornate. You can call it custom built, but I don't think it was. Several of these have shown up, in other words. The same one. See, here's another one of it that has a little more decoration on the front, and there's I've seen at least 3 or 4 of these viewers. Already now beginning to talk to a publisher, so with a little bit of luck, you'll see the book. This little variant here raises and lowers. Maybe you can see that move even. Up and down. What that does is give a vertical change to both the blue and the red images, leaving the green alone. The green is the basic one. And then the red has a little vernier on this side for horizontal adjustment. So there it is, ready to go.
Beautiful. Very nice.
In fact, I can see this one here now, but there it is. The red is off a little bit. See, and I do it by hand. There we are. One of the things I've always enjoyed collecting are these so-called French tissues. And one of the sets is The Life of the Devil in Hell. There are several sets, really, but the one that is really nice is done by a man named Bloch, with a signature on the card, BK. And this is a bunch of these viewers, kind of second-rate copies because they're hard to find in real good condition. And they're colored on the back and pierced on the back. They're black and white when you look at them without the light on. And but backlit, they spring to life, you see. The devil has red eyes. And people like these. I've written an article on it, and I must say I've pushed the value of them up to the point where I told Claire she has to be careful not to sell them cheap if I leave this earth suddenly. One of the things I've done over the years is belong to the stereoscopic, for some 40-odd years, to the Stereoscopic Society in Great Britain. And these are all pictures. I have over 400 of these with the original pictures in them in these envelopes, and they go around in the mail in a round robin fashion. You see, when you get one back, you get all the comments of all the people who saw the pictures, and then you put a new one in, you see. And I've been doing it since 1946.
Well, I'm Paul's Frau. What have you been doing? Tearing the house apart?
Yeah.
As usual.
Yeah.
Can't do it. See, I can't play anything.
Very nice.
Can't play anything, right? Bye now. That's it.
We'll take it.
Bye.
Oh,
That was great.
it was wonderful. It's so nice to see the video.
It's fun hearing the Boston accents.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, next we have, what do we have? next,
Competition.
Eric?
We have a competition. Yes.
So our competition director, drum roll please, David Kuntz.
No Paul Wing stories?
Do you have
yeah,
one?
well, yeah. Anybody have a story they want to share?
You'd probably be there all night. I got one. 1986. I read in a PSA magazine that the Stereo Club Francais was having their annual meeting. So I was pissed off at work and I decided to go. And I thought I'd be the only American there. I happened to meet an American from Alaska that's living there for like 20 years. So I'm sitting next to him in the back of the auditorium during the show. And I'm, watching the show. And all of a sudden in the dark, I hear this voice say, "That's the goddamn French for you."
We are going to give you an alternative option, and that is we're going to post the URL. It's to a spot on the LA 3D Club website that has all of these images in an HTML5 viewer, which allows you to see them in almost any format. And the most important point is that if you have a 3D TV, you can probably get them up on that if you put them in side-by-side squeezed mode and then manually tell your TV to go into 3D mode. So hopefully any moment now, Eric is going to post that.
Yeah, I'm pasting a link in the chat right now.
Pasting it as we speak. There you go. So I'm going to talk about how the competition works. And while I'm doing that, anybody who wants to can navigate over to that HTML5 gallery and get set up. And the images that are on the gallery are in the same order in which they will be shown and the scores announced. So that will allow you to maintain the illusion that you are seeing it as it unfolds. Okay, folks. And if all goes well, this thing will even, my screen will even go forward. Let's see if I can, there we go. Let me just make sure that's the first one. Yes, it is. Okay. There are 3 categories of images that are allowed into LA 3D Club monthly competitions. Standard, which is any type of a stereo image that is acquired photographically and is made by the entrant. Computer generated, we don't have any of those tonight, but they're computer generated. And what we call modified, which is typically a 2D to 3D conversion of artwork that was not created by the entrant themselves. We have 2 groups, A and B, although you will see those all together and they will not be distinguished until we hear the scores. But we have 2 groups. And finally, after many years of not having anyone in the B group, we have enticed a few people into it. Our scoring system is 5 through 9. We have 3 judges, meaning that an image can get anywhere from 15 to 27. Our judges tonight are Cassie Kaufman, Lawrence Kaufman, and because we're judging these things virtually, I took advantage of the fact that I could have a judge who was not located here. And I asked John Bishey, who is the president of the NSA, and he's also the competition director for the Ohio Stereophotographic Society, and an all-around good guy to be our third judge. Okay, so if all goes well, I believe it is, we're going to start the judging. So we are going to first see the standard category. And I believe there are 33 images we're going to see. So I'll show them and I'll read the scores. And I'm looking at this on a second computer, so hopefully I know when the rest of you folks are seeing it. 7, 7, 6, 20. And if I get terribly out of sync and I'm announcing scores for images that haven't appeared, somebody pipe up and tell me. 6, 6, 6, 18. Seven, 7, 7, 21. 7, 7, 7, 21. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. There we go. 6, 7, 7, 20. Sorry, I don't know why I keep getting that thing. Please move this window away from the shared window. I don't know what the hell I'm doing wrong there, why it gives me that. Eric, do you have any idea why I get that? Please move this window away from the shared. Oh, it went away. Fine. Okay, sorry about that. 6, 7, 6, 19.
Are you on picture number 6?
I am, should be, yes, and I should be coming up. Picture number 7. I've pressed the button and it's, I don't know why it does that. I got that when I did my this window away. I have no idea why it does that, and it doesn't want to let me advance when I do that. Hang on. There we go. 7, 6, 6, 19. 7, 7, 7, 21. 7, 7, 7, 21. 7, 7, 7, 21. Anybody know why I get this? Please move this window away from message thing. I don't know what the hell it is, but I've run into it before.
Whatever it is, we're not seeing it.
Oh, I see. It's funny because I'm seeing it on my thing. Well, that's all very interesting.
I see
Okay.
it, right, unless you mouse over.
Yeah, I've been seeing it.
I've been seeing it too.
Yeah, I don't know how to
I'm looking at it on the, on the.
Somebody added that. I think it's.
No, I've gotten that before. I got that when I did my workshop at NSA, and I don't know what I'm mousing over that it's not happy about. 7, 6, 6, 19. 7, 7, 6, 20. I don't have a clue as to what it's coming from.
Are you able to actually grab that little thing and drag it away?
No, I don't have a clue. 6, 7, 7, 20. Oh, wait, hold it. It went up. Interesting. Oh, mother of Jesus. I would have to live with it. One of these days.
Oh yeah, you've moved it to another spot now.
I know that in a more disturbing one. I liked it where it was better before.
Yeah.
It usually means there's just another window that's on top of the window that you're sharing in your
Let me,
graphics
I'll tell you what,
process.
hang
doesn't
on,
like it.
let's just make sure we close. Let's just try and see if maybe minimizing everything else that I have going on. The multiplicity, that didn't do damn thing. Please move this window away from, I don't have a clue.
I think it may actually be like the Zoom stop share screen button.
Except I've moved that darn thing around too a bunch of times.
Please move this window away from.
Yeah, well, it wants you to, anyway, hold on,
Yeah.
I'm gonna back up because I'm not, it doesn't seem to be painting the screen properly. Let's try that. Anyway, did I give you this one? 86620.
Hmm.
67720. 66618.
Hmm.
66719. 76619. 88723. 78621. 66618. 87621.
Picture number 22.
That was, and now we are going, now this is number 23. It might look familiar to you. 78722. 78722. 77721. 78621. 76619.
Hmm.
87621. 76619. 76619. 88824. 77721. 77721. That's it for the standard category. Now we'll see the modified category images. So these are 2D to 3D conversions of images not created by the entrant, but they were converted by the entrant. Seven, 21. 898 25. 987 24. Okay, and next we're going to see all the images, and there are a lot of them, that were entered for the Spooky Scary Theme Award category. So I'm just going to show those. You've already seen them before. You've already heard their scores before. I'll show you them all, and then at the end, I will reveal with a dramatic flourish which one of them received the theme award when I announce all the awards. So here we go. I'll run through them. These aren't in the HTML5 gallery again, or are they? Actually, they are, aren't they, Eric?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Okay, super. Okay.
There's a separate gallery.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to just run through them. Okay, you've now seen them all. Eric, you want to give us a little bit of score tallying music? All right, here we go. Here's the winners from tonight. In the B group, standard category, we have 3 honorable mentions. They took 21 points. The first one is by Randall Vandegrift. It's Nevada Pineapples. Next, by Andrew Park, Homebake Apple Pie. And the final HM in the B group by Randall Vandegrift, Something Wicked This Way Comes. And the award in the B group, standard category, with 23 points, Quarantine Blues on clarinet, Andrew Park. Very good. Okay, moving on to the A group, standard category, honorable mention, 21 points. There's 5 of these. First is Skullduggery by Lee Pratt. Next is Lattice Tunnel by Abe Pearlstein. Doll by Eric Kurland. Numbskull by Lee Pratt. And the final HM, Straight and Narrow by Abe Pearlstein. We've got 2 awards in the A group, tied for 22 points. The first is Orange by Barry Rothstein. And you can own this one yourself, I believe, if you buy his book. And the final award in the A group, standard category, Spider Nightmare by David Starkman. Okay, in the A group modified category, an honorable mention took 24 points. This is Salvador Dali, Raphaelesque Head Exploding by Jim Long. And the A group modified category award got 25 points. Gary Larson, Bartender Fast Enough, again by Jim Long. And finally, our theme award winner, Doll by Eric Kurland. that concludes the scheduled portion of our broadcast here, folks. See if I can get this thing to stop sharing, and maybe even that message will eventually go away. There we go. Stop share. All right. Hopefully in another month or two from now, I'll figure out how to make that stupid error message go away. All right. Are we ready to segue into Harvey's segment, or what? What's going on next?
Yeah, I think Eric will introduce Harvey.
All right.
Sure. Yeah. I'd like to introduce our special guest for tonight's meeting, Harvey Jewett. Harvey runs a company called Z-Axis Prints. He does short-run lenticular printing. I can vouch, I have used Harvey's service a number of times. He does really excellent lenticular printing work. And I'd love to learn a bit more about first, Harvey, how you got interested in 3D, and in particular, how you got started doing lenticular printing.
All right, well, first off, hello, everybody. I'm Harvey Jewett with Z-Axis Prints. Thanks for having me. It's kind of a fun meeting. First time I've been through the 3D or LA 3D meeting, and that was kind of neat to see all that stuff. Should have brought some more of my own show and tell stuff. I got lots of funky cameras and stuff laying around too. I first got introduced to lenticular printing back in about 1992, 93 in a tech course for printing, photography, and graphic design back in my high school days. And I kind of filed it away as something cool, but never really thought of it as a career path. Fast forward a few more years later, I was finishing college at the end of 1998, 99. And a friend of mine was opening up a tattoo parlor, and all of a sudden he had all this cool artwork on the walls, and it was all this like music festival artwork and stuff like that, and some Geiger pictures and some different things that were all flips. And he was so ecstatically excited about them, and I was just like, and he paid a phenomenal amount of money for them. And I thought, what did you pay for these? I think I can learn how to do that. I remember something about that from my school days. And so I started to devour every white paper, every piece of information on lenticular I could find. And 25 years ago, there was not much out there. So I read white papers from Stanford and NYU and anything I could find from Stereoscopic News or anywhere else. Anybody said anything about lenticular, I would read it and learn about it. And I worked for a company for a good number of years called Group Photographers Association, which is like a large youth sports lab. So when kids get their baseball pictures taken, we would make trading cards and magazine covers and all kinds of cool kitschy memorabilia for kids. And I thought, what a perfect place for lenticular. So I started making these fake 3D magazine covers that I would drop kids' pictures into. And so we had ESPN ones and Sports Illustrated ones, and they never took off big because photographers didn't want to sell them due to the upcharge. It was like they could sell a 8x10 print for $25 and it only cost them $1. Or they could sell one of my 3D prints really cool for $25, $30, but it cost them $10. So the markup wasn't there, and I could never get photographers to really push it. So about a decade ago, I formed Z-Axis Prints and started offering my printing services to every artist, photographer, consumer, professional, designer, you name it, anybody that was interested in 3D, I would talk to them. I got on every 3D forum I could find, every stereoscopic forum I could find. I met Carl Wilson, Slightman, and Eric Kurland, and a lot of these different people all over the place online, and have had wonderful conversations with them over the years and started building up this business. About 3 or 4 years ago, as the sports market kind of died off, I quit offering all the sports products so much and went to solely offering my large format and one-off and low volume printing. And we've been doing that steadily now, nonstop, just this for the last 4 or 5 years now. I've done a number of projects over the years for some fairly big photographers. I did some stuff with Stan Lee that was shot by Nick Steglin-Benny a few years ago. I did some work for the World Entertainment News Network back when 3D was big, what, about a decade ago, I guess. Carl and a few of us had put together a 3D stock photography company that we were trying to get launched. It never quite worked out, but while that was going, we did some conversions and some different things. And it evolved into what we have today. I suppose if I could do a quick screen share, maybe I could show my website real quick. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, now I can't see what I'm sharing. That's no good. All right, well, here's my website. Well, that didn't resize well. This normally doesn't do this. Something tells me I'm not the only one that has these sharing problems with Zoom. All right. Can everybody hear me all right? Everybody went quiet.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
All right, so on my website here, it's I'll just show real simple for ordering prints. I don't differentiate between an MPO, a sequence, whether that sequence is 24 frames or just a Nimslo or an Ashika shot or anything like that. You get to tell me what I'm trying to print, and I do my best to make the best out of that. So on my website, if you upload an MPO or a side-by-side or even separate JPEGs, and there's just a little note section, you say, hey, here's my stuff, do your best with it. Over the years, I've learned almost every way possible to convert a pair or an MPO or a sequence to what I need to print. So all you have to do is go to order lenticular prints on my Z-Axis webpage. And you can see the basic pricing structure. Now this is basic. If you need anything custom at all you have to do is tell me in your notes, hey, I ordered an 8x10, but what I really need is a 9x7 or some funky size, and I will happily cut that, trim that, crop that, whatever needs to be done to make that happen. To make an order, we just simply pick the size of print you want to start with. If you want to add and say I want multiple sizes of the same image, you can keep printing, picking more and more different sizes that you want in different LPIs. And give you your total down here. When you've picked out all your sizes for your first image, you can add it to cart. Oh, first you got to choose 3D or flip. Sorry, my bad. If you use 3D, there's no other options available. You just pick your sizes. If you choose flip or animation, you can choose horizontal or vertical. For those of you that don't know a lot about lenticular printing, horizontals for if you want to flip that goes top to bottom. So if you're looking at it, say, in front of your handheld, top to bottom works best for an image. If you're going to put it on the wall, left to right works best, or vertical orientation. Once you get everything added to your cart that you're ready to go, you don't actually upload your images until after you put in your shipping information. This is for a very simple reason. When I first started this and you could upload images to begin with, people would upload a bunch of stuff and then cancel their order, and I still had tons and tons of images on my server that people would either not order or upload multiple times and whatnot. So the way it's set up now, after you make your payments and everything, you'll end up having an upload. So proceed to checkout. You put in your billing and shipping details, and the very next screen after I hit proceed to PayPal, after you hit PayPal, it'll go to an upload area. If you don't hit an upload area, you can always email me and I'll send you an upload link. The problem with this as the sole creator of all this web stuff, every time there's an update to WooCommerce, it breaks my upload ordering. And then I have to go in and figure out what's broken and fix it. And then they update it again and it breaks again. So if you ever have a problem, please email me. I fix it rather quickly. But that's my basic ordering process.
Hey, Harvey, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If somebody wants you to make a lenticular and all they have is just a regular stereo pair, just the two images, I know you'll create in-betweens, but is there like an upcharge for that?
Well, it depends. I have about 3 or 4 different automatic conversion softwares that I work with. And if any of those work perfectly, then there's no upcharge at all. If there's minor augmentation that I have to do to make it work, depending on how minor it is, I may not even charge for that if it's just 5-minute quick fix or something like that. But if it's something that takes some serious Photoshop work or some work to the tweening and some serious work to the sequence or something like that, then I'll just message the purchaser and let them know, like, hey, the automatic software failed. This is the problems with it, and then this is the cost to fix it. So if anybody has a sequence that doesn't work out perfectly, I just message them and say, hey, this doesn't work out through the automatic software. This is the amount of time it's going to take me to fix it, and this is my charge to fix that. And they have an opportunity to either cancel the order or pay the upcharge and move forward.
What's the optimal amount of shots you want for a 3D? Would that be 10 images or 8?
Well, that all depends on the size you're printing and the LPI of the lens being used.
Yeah.
Almost all prints can be made with as little as, say, 4 images if you really want to, but they're going to be a little jumpy when you move back and forth. It's going to kind of jump between the images a little bit. Once you get up over, say, 10 frames, everything gets really smooth. And so you're not gonna, I can't say you won't see a huge difference between 10 frames and 30 frames, because there certainly is a big difference, but you can get a really great image from anywhere from 10 to say 36 frames.
And people can upload those 10 images too?
Yeah, it's you can upload 1 image, 10 images, or whatever you need to do to get them to me. In the ordering process, there's also a notes section. So if you have any questions or concerns, or if you're ordering a whole bunch of different prints and you think they might get confused over which one goes with which image, you can just list out in your notes, the image XYZ is an 8x10, a 4x6, and a 5x7. So there's a little notes section there where you can ask any questions you want. And then when I receive the orders, I look over everything. If anything doesn't make sense at all, I send out a quick email or give a quick phone call and say, hey, this order doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Being this is a premium product and it's not super cheap, I can take the time to make a quick phone call and make sure I'm producing the right product for everybody.
Is there any kind of guidance or about what tends to work well and doesn't tend to work well in terms of generating intermediates?
No, I don't have a guide for that. I mean, of course, I've learned it over the number of years and whatnot. I can just look at it and let you know whether I think it works well or not. And in fact, anybody that wants to can always email me a quick sample of their image, and I'll just give you a quick synopsis of how well I think it'll convert or print, or what would be better, or what needs to be done to make a.
What are you looking for though when you do that? What are the things that jump out at you?
Well, a lot of the main things that jump out at me is the total amount of parallax available. There's only I can only extrapolate, meaning going outside of your pair a certain amount. So if you shoot me a really shallow pair, I can't make it a whole lot deeper than what you sent me. So the first thing to think about is if you want to go to lenticular, it's going to probably need to be deeper or a little bit wider than your average stereo pair if you want it to really pop out in lenticular through an automatic conversion. If you want to go through full custom conversion, then we can do all kinds of really cool things with a full automatic conversion. In fact, let me show you another quick thing here. Is like one of my favorite new ways to convert stuff.
Well, how much parallax should an image have in terms of the outboardmost pair?
If you're shooting a sequence, and that sequence is a six frames or more sequence, then I would shoot 3 times your parallax that you would shoot for a stereo pair, roughly. And almost every scene under lenticular can handle about 3 times as much parallax as the original stereo pair, because you're never seeing the far left and the far right view. You're seeing something in between. And so as you turn the print, you're seeing a different set that slides inside and outside of that whole frame set. But you're always at a basically only about 1/3 of the full frame set that you're seeing at any one time as you turn the lens.
That's very clever, because that means that if you were to slide the camera, do a 30 frame strip, and very quickly slide the camera across, that each one of those becomes a thing. So that as a viewer walk it across, you see the different camera angle.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you could actually reverse it so that as you move across, instead of that 3D thing where the background, moves, the back you would actually be able to see a little bit around the corner as your head moved around the corner.
Absolutely, and that's the best thing about in my opinion, the lenticular view of a 3D is you create a much wider view and you get that full look around effect. So whenever you're looking at the picture, you feel like you're looking around the subject. You're looking at their left ear and then looking over at their right ear. So if you do a subject and place them right on the focal plane, you can place their nose pointing out at people and the back of their ears behind it. And as you turn it, it feels like they're just pivoting on a stool right in front of you.
Yeah, yeah.
So am I hearing that if I sent you a pair which had a parallax of whatever, 3 times the normal, so like 10% or whatever the hell, or 1/10, you would generate X number of intermediates and that would be good?
No, actually, because if you go that far outside of normal stereo parameters, the conversion software will fail because it's looking for something within about 25% of normal. And so if you go 3 times normal, you're outside of what the stereo software is looking for. So to go that full width, to get the full look around effect, the very best effect possible, you really do need to shoot more than 2 frames, like at least 4. Otherwise, the stereo conversion software will just fail on creating the in-betweens or creating the depth matches.
You shoot it in parallel, or you have to converge on the subject?
Well, that also depends on your all-around subject. If you can see the floor, it's best to not converge on your subject because you'll end up with some serious keystoning in elements on the ground that are geometrical, and you'll notice it. If the subject is, say, cut off at the waist or where you can't see the ground plane up close, then it's best to key in on your subject because it's going to mimic how you view somebody in real life a little bit more as you sway left to right and look left to right at them. And you're not going to see that distortion in the ground so much. But anytime you have a lot of geometrical shapes and stuff like that, and you toe into the subject, you're going to start noticing some keystone distortion on the outside edges, especially.
And I'll vouch that Harvey's been very helpful about improving images that I've sent him to have made into prints. I'll send a sequence of 24 images, and Harvey's gotten back to me and said, you know, it would be great if you had maybe a little less extreme at the 1 and 24 images, shift everything in space a little bit back and put a little bit of texture in the background to make it stand out. And he's worked with me to improve the images, and I've been very pleased with how they've turned out.
Oh, I forgot. Is my screen still sharing?
Yep.
Yes.
So here in front of me, this is in Photoshop. And Photoshop's had some great 3D abilities for a number of years now. And this is actually my favorite way to do 3D conversion out for lenticulars, to build a full model in Photoshop. Let's see if this actually renders. It was rendering much faster before the zoom started. But in the sports days, I would create sports backgrounds like this so that I can control the camera and move a virtual camera to get exactly the scene I need for templates and that. Well, sure, it doesn't want to render right now. Something about my memory usage while Zoom's going on is not allowing this to work properly.
How many images do you have for this?
Well, this one I was trying to show is actually a whole bunch of Photoshop layers built into one. You can see a whole ton of layers here as each different piece in this background. And then the whole thing is created into one 3D object or one 3D scene inside of Photoshop. So then I can actually move my camera and render a whole scene left to right and get exactly the number of frames and spacing to fully fill the lens. Because although when we're shooting it, when we're shooting with a camera, we're trying to mimic it as much as we can, the angle of the lens. It's not exactly that easy. In digital, I can exactly match the angle of the lens, or each lens only can allow a certain amount of parallax no matter how you shoot it. No matter how much resolution you have, each one can only move so far. And so once you know what that distance is, you can dial in exactly how far each camera movement can move to move the background pixel the exact distance total possible without getting any blurring and whatnot. And so in this type of situation in Photoshop where you can create a 3D model, you can control it to the minute detail and get crystal clear front to back. Whereas shooting in real life is not as easy to do unless you've got some serious ruler and measuring abilities and whatnot. Real life is just harder to control. But
now, David Starkman commented in the chat that sounds like a good time to dust off a Nimslo, shoot negatives, scan them, and send you 4 digital images.
So the Nimslo is great. I have a Nishika and a Nimslo, and I've made some great prints from them. However, their base is so narrow that unless you're shooting something really close, you don't end up with a really deep image. You end up with a nice image because it's film, and you get some depth out of it depending on how far your subject is away. But basically, I have to take a 24-degree viewing angle lens and split it in half to make a shot out of a Nimslo, because the viewing angle is so narrow that if I put it under the full 24 degrees, it feels really flat. So I end up compressing that view down and putting basically 2 prints under the same lens. So you flip back and forth in a 12-degree view. And it works really great, but Nimslo's not quite wide enough. What you really need is a Birdlow. The Birdlow cameras that were like 12 lenses or something like that. They were 1.5 feet across. That's the one that would make really great.
Well, one tip that might be good for a Nimslo for more depth is just for portraiture, that if you get like a 72 millimeter +2 lens, it's big enough to cover all 4 lenses and focuses at about a 2-foot distance for a really great portrait with a lot of depth. And the curvature of the The +2 focuses you at 2 feet, and the curvature of the lens somehow converges all 4 lenses. And we used to get some really nice lenticulars printed by the Nimslo company, taken with that +2 in front of all 4 lenses.
Yeah, that would probably help out a lot. That distance makes a really big difference.
Yeah.
That leads to a question I had. I know there's a lot of people who are using actually more Nishikas than Nimslos for some reason, but people who are posting wiggle GIFs to Instagram. And is that a format you can work with? Because it seems like there's a lot of people who don't even know that they're taking 3D pictures who would probably be interested in getting prints.
People actually send me their GIFs just to print, and there's like, can you print GIFs? And I'm like, yeah, but I would rather print a full resolution scan. But sure, I'll take your 72 DPI tiny GIF and blow it up to 16 by 20 for you. You bet. But I do that all the time, and it's funny because a lot of those end up being, you know, animations, of course. And people don't seem to understand that you can't do quite the level of animation in a print that you can do in a GIF. And so they'll try to do a 40 frame GIF and have me print it out. And it's like, well, your website says you can print up to 36 frames. And I'm like, well, that's for 3D. That's not exactly the same thing. But yeah, I get a lot of that wiggle stuff sent to me lately.
Hey, Harvey, forgive my ignorance here, but you know, because I when it comes to the lenticulars, and just for the group, I don't know how many of you guys were like way back in the day when I first did the Disneyland series, and the first time I showed it at the LA 3D Club, it was Harvey that had done several prints for me in lenticular, and I had put them in frames and built boxes behind them and backlit them, and they looked absolutely awesome. But my question to you, Harvey, is it possible, like if you're using like an HD camera and you put it on a slide rail, could you like shoot video, you know, and like slide, you know, just for a second, like slide it across, and could you work with frames from a video file?
That's actually my favorite way to work currently. My iPhone has a 4K camera built in, and I just move my camera and I just shoot in 4K.
And so could the client just send you like a video clip and you would extract them?
Yeah, I can work with an MOV clip and an AVI. I mean, just about any video format. I do a lot of my tweening work in After Effects already anyway. So I can just import the raw footage, usually exactly how it is, set up a couple parameters, tween some new views, and output it in no time.
Is it just like the standard like 30 FPS, or would you want to go like higher with like 60?
That all depends on your subject matter and what you're trying to shoot. I mean, the more movement in the subject, the faster you have to shoot it, right? So if you've got somebody that can hold really still, and then you can move as slow as you want. If you have a moving subject like a small child, you better have a fast frame rate and be moving your body pretty quickly, you know?
Right. Well, that's awesome. It's good to know that.
Yeah, in fact, I don't really want to share it again, but on the front page of my website, there's a couple animations that I made with a simple application called Fuse. And Fuse is kind of like a boomerang style app where you take your camera and you shoot and move the camera and shoot again, and it kind of bounces back and forth between the two images. And so I've approached probably like every app manufacturer known to man that has an image like that. And like, you know, we can turn this into 3D. And I've sent out samples and whatnot. And I have a number of different companies that are looking at adding a print program or a print option to their programs in the next year, based on that idea. So basically, any way you can create an image that moves in parallax, I can find a way to turn it into a lenticular print, 3D print.
Harvey, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It's Abe Pearlstein. We've talked many times.
Yeah.
Best. So when you say left to right, you're not doing an arc, you're just going left to right?
Either or. I can work with either usually.
Well,
an arc is either going to blur your foreground or background depending on what you're seeing. If the ground plane's visible, it's going to blur both foreground and background. If just your background's visible, then an arc is often going to blur your background a certain amount, partially due to the keystone distortion and partially just due to the amount of excessive movement.
So it's better to do on a rail type of movement.
Yeah, the only thing I like the only reason I like towing in is because it saves me time in aligning everything. You know, because if you point at the subject every time, everything's basically aligned when you're done. And if you do a straight parallel shot, then you have to realign every shot afterwards to a common point. So.
Okay. Thank
So,
you.
Yeah, working time wise, I prefer toe in, but if it working quality wise, then the best image parallel is almost always the best.
But it seems like with something really close, it has to be an arc because it has to be the same distance from the, and that also determines where the window is. And
absolutely.
And if you did it, yeah, right.
And
Yeah, like
what's the
I hadn't thought about that.
Go ahead.
What's the largest size you're able to do?
Well, my printer prints 44 inches across. I like to have a little bit for registration on there. So the largest image I usually offer is 42 inches wide. However, I've done many multi-panel images before. There's a photographer out of Houston called Robert Chow, and I did some 4-pane panels for him that were 42 inches for each pane. So the final image was 84 inches wide by 72 inches tall, and with 4 different panes to make the image out of it. So I can put multiple lenses together and go bigger than that, but my biggest single piece that I currently offer is 42 inches by, say, 6 feet.
And
Which I would love to do some huge 4 foot by 6 foot stuff if anybody's out there wanting it. That would be really cool.
Well, I'm really interested in getting a closer look at those flying saucers behind you.
So that's Ryan Coldy. I do a bunch of printing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And this is a series of stuff I've been working on for him that goes out. He's opening a new shop or something down in his town there. I don't know. I can remember what it's called or where exactly he's at, but he's
Auburn.
Yeah, he's in Auburn. He's got a new shop space or a gallery space, and so I've got a bunch of different pieces of his going out. He's got a bunch of stuff with cats looking through cities and all kinds of different weird stuff. But I do a lot of different prints for him. There's another pretty cool one here. This is another Robert Chow image. I don't know if this will come across well, but this is actually a 3-image flip. Goes from underwater to half flooded to not.
Wow, that's really cool.
But the flips seem to be really, really popular. This is another 2-image flip.
Huh.
Well, this one will come across real well in the, this is a full animation.
Cool.
Wow.
Wow, nice.
Wow.
A bomb going off.
Yeah.
That's not a bomb, that's a mushroom.
So this one is actually like 8
It's an artichoke.
goes through.
How many cells? How many frames is that?
This one I think is 8. I think.
Only 8?
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Wow.
8.
Ah, okay. So all the transitioning is just through the smudge of the glass. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of ghosting right between each frame, and it kind of smooths everything out. It makes it seem like there's a little bit more going on there than there is.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
What kind of archival expectations could you look at with a print like the one you just held up?
Well, the ink in the paper is good for 100 years or more. It's Epson archival inks, Ultrachrome archival inks, so they're good for 75 to 120 years, depending on the conditions. My glue claims it's non-yellowing and UV resistant and should last for at least 50 years, but nobody's had one that long, so I don't, I can't guarantee that. And the plastic, so long as it's not in the sunlight, should last for next to forever. It will start to haze maybe after a couple decades or so, but as long as it's not in the sunlight, it'll never go completely gone. It'll never fade out completely.
So when you have it in your home, are you illuminating it with incandescent light, or can you actually illuminate it with diffused natural light?
I have no problem illuminating most of mine in my house with just natural light. However, the material that I use works really great, both reflective and backlit. So it doesn't, if you want to get a backlight for it, it lights up really nice with a backlight. It kind of works as its own diffuser, but it also reflects really well also. The main thing I would steer clear from is like halogens that directly point at it will give you more glare back at you than anything. So something more diffused is better for viewing them in your home, just so you don't get that kind of like a radial arc across the top from a bright light.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question. If if I want to shoot a macro of something small enough that would sit on a turntable like a Lazy Susan, could I just put my camera on a tripod, turn on the video, and then rotate the turntable?
Absolutely.
Would that work?
Yeah, in fact, I took an old record player and I marked a 25-degree arc in the record player, and I put little tick marks along it and just put a little needle so I can move it one arc, one degree at a turn, a click, and that way I can get my whole 24 degrees of in 24 shots, and make it perfect for my 60 LPI lens for if I'm making a flyer or something. Say I did one for a pair of fancy shoes a few years ago, and we just set the shoe on the turntable and 1 degree for 24 shots, and it made it absolutely perfect 3D.
So it would come out better actually not to shoot video, but just a series of stills, so you could turn the turntable the exact number of degrees.
Yeah, it works out great. The thing you have to watch out for is your background. So if you have a lot of texture in your background, it can get a little bit muddled, because at that extreme, moving a full 24 degrees, it's gonna create a bokeh effect where it looks kind of like a wide angle shot, where things on the focal plane will be super sharp, and then the farther you go from the focal plane, they'll get just a little bit less sharp, a little bit more blurred or whatnot. So within a certain range, it's going to be tack sharp and look perfect, and then it'll slowly fade out. And what that ends up doing is creates kind of that shallow portraiture type of feel, where your subject is totally in focus and perfect what everybody's looking at, and anything behind it looks horrible, or at least blurry. So it's best to have either a solid background or just kind of like an organic, non-specific background if you're going to do that.
Right. If I had a gray board that's just solid, even gray, and if the subject is interesting enough, then I don't need to be concerned about the background.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Harvey?
Oh, I have one question. This is Abe again. I shot with the what's that 16 lens camera, the Birdlow camera. I shot with that. It ended up being half the frames were not in focus for whatever reason. It might have just been that particular camera. But then I did a poster for the Lost World, and I shot that with a 6x8 camera and about 70 images from left to right, and we created a really coarse screen. And I'm just wondering how much projection you can get that's sharp and clear from the image to whatever is coming out of the stereo window, like a hand pointing or something. How much depth of field can you get, so to speak?
Oh, well, that depends on your taste for what you consider blurry and sharp. Because no matter what you do, even if you're right within specifications, whatever's right at the focal plane and what's at the maximum that you can get sharpness out of is still going to be one's sharper than the other. That whatever's at the focal plane will always be slightly sharper no matter what. That said, you can get about, I don't know how to explain this in an actual measurement other than the total left to right parallax you can get out of, say, a 60 LPI lens is about 1.25 inches front or left to right in front of the lens, and that equates to feeling like, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches out of the lens. And then the background is about double that.
Okay, thanks.
Right, well, any other question that anybody comes up in the near future or anytime, actually, you can always email me at harvey@zaxisprints.com and just ask me your questions. And if it's something I can easily answer, it doesn't take me, writing a book to answer, I will quickly give you an answer of what will work, won't work. Or if you want to send me a pair or just a single image and say, will this make a good print? I'll give you my honest opinion at it, no charge. I'm also free on the phone most of the time. You can give me a call. Numbers on the website and that, or message me. I'm happy to help out anytime. You should be seeing prints coming out from us very soon. If you've seen the Loom Pad, that will hopefully be making some prints for Leia here real soon. So
yeah, we actually had Nima here at a meeting a couple months ago, and he mentioned that.
So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we're going to be real busy here in the next couple of months.
Well, that's great. I'm so glad you could join us here at the meeting tonight. As I said, I've done several jobs through Z-Axis Prints. One of the things I really like about Harvey's service is if you just want a one-off, Harvey can do one for you. I've done as many as we did a run of, I think, 300 at one point for a Blu-ray insert, and they all turned out fantastic.
Harvey, I'm just curious, have you done any COVIDs yet? Just for fun, you know?
Well, here, this one's kind of interesting. I haven't done any COVID specific stuff. However, this particular image, this 3D image, this is from Cambodia. And in Cambodia, to get rid of coronavirus, they've all created these scarecrows they put out in front of their huts and houses and farms and whatnot.
God.
So this is just one of them. This guy from Cambodia sent me, and we did a series of these that are on display at a show in New York right now.
Oh my God.
Wow. Wow.
That is really creepy looking.
Yeah, they're all super creepy looking and weird and funky. And it's just kind of like, it's interesting to see how across the world everybody deals with coronavirus differently. And in these little villages and stuff like that, their superstitions are to create a scarecrow to scare away the demon COVID. And it seems to be working because my friend over there that's creating these, nobody has COVID in his village. So it's working.
Oh God.
So we've posted the link to Z-Axis Prints in the chat, and it's real easy. If you want to go to his website, it's just as it sounds, zaxisprints.com. Harvey, thanks so much for coming here and showing us all about lenticulars tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Harvey.
Okay, thanks everyone. I think is there anything left for the meeting?
Yes,
Anybody?
there is. There's the raffle.
Ooh, okay, let's have it.
So, as you remember, a couple months ago, I mentioned that in order to try to encourage more participation, especially in the B category, that there's a raffle for anybody who participated for a DreamWorks art of book. And this was also placed into the website last week to remind people. So how it works is there'll be a book raffled out for the A group and a book raffled out for the B group. And to try to just make the B group a bit special for this emphasis is the B group will go first, and there's fewer participants. So your chances are going to be very good. We're going to have a little help with the raffle. And let's see, David, I think that you have a list of people's names and they have a number next to it.
Well, I do, but there has been a slight disturbance in the force, and that is Jody, who was our membership director, texted me as I was sitting here a few minutes ago and mentioned that one of the two people who entered the B group this month isn't actually a current member. And while I plan on extracting their membership fee from them very, very shortly so that their scores can be included, I'm going to make the executive decision to say that the remaining current member of the B group automatically wins, and that's Andrew Park.
Oh,
wait a second. Randy, he's been busy. So
yeah. Well, when he gets unbusy and sends us his $30, we'll put him in for the raffle. Anyway, all right. So that's that. And you can share it with him. How's that sound?
Okay. So Andrew, so you're going to need to pick which one you want. There's, I have three of them right here. One is Turbo. Another one is Madagascar 3. And, these are really lovely. It's like the art of books, and they have, just beautiful sketches. Another one is Captain Underpants.
Yay.
And then another one is Home. So Andrew, which book would you like me to mail you?
You're muted, Andy.
Or he fell asleep.
Yeah, hopefully both.
Oh, sorry, I'm
There we go.
muted.
You
My
did
kid
it.
used to like Captain Underpants when he was little, but he's 16 now. So
Take a Madagascar.
you better real quick. What are the choices? Captain Underpants, Madagascar.
And Turbo is also the other one. It's just slightly out of reach. Do you want to see what Turbo looks like?
Yeah, you're.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
I think Madagascar is the clear winner there, Andrew.
I don't know.
It's Madagascar 3, though.
Oh, is it? It's a different one.
Turbo. It's about racing car snails.
Is that a sequel or the first one?
Oh,
It's probably good because it's the first one.
yeah, first one.
All right. Well, Abe wants me to take Madagascar.
Okay.
I
Very
gotta tell you, my kid really liked Captain Underpants. It got him reading.
I
I don't know if you guys know much about it.
There's a fun section on some sock puppets they did for it. It's a special feature in there.
Captain Underpants is the one where they spell everything phonetically for first-time readers.
No, it's different.
Okay.
You're too old.
No, I'm too old. You're not fucking old enough.
Can he still spell correctly now that he's been spelling incorrectly for all that time?
Yeah, actually, you learn to spell, but it encourages kids to read because they can read everything phonetically.
Oh,
That's cool. That's a cool idea.
That's why we learn phonics.
Yeah.
The art of design. So, and then Madagascar. I know it's a hard choice. I'm handling these because these are my copy, but I'm going to send you one that hasn't been handled.
All right. Well, I'm partial to Captain Underpants unless there's somebody that has a young kid that wants it.
All yours. If it turns out the next person wants Captain Underpants, I do have another one, so we could switch it up.
He's also kind of funny. It's the Dave Pilkey is the writer, right? Yeah.
Cool. Now, oh, how fun. I love this wheel that we have. So these are all participants. That's a great idea. Who did this?
Some guy.
Before we wrap up, I should make an announcement about the Hollywood exhibition.
Well, hold on. First of all, let's spin the big wheel first.
Yep.
It's a tense moment. Eric, do we need any wheel spinning sound effects to accompany this? Ooh, it's a all right, we have a winner.
That was Rob.
So, which one would you like? The Madagascar, home?
I know that all my nieces really liked Madagascar, so we'll get that because one of them will love to have it.
Oh, that's great. Okay, wonderful. So I'll be in contact with each of you afterwards to get the where you'd like me to mail it, and then
Okay.
send it to you. So thank you for participating with the competition and for participating with the raffle. It's really fun.
Fabulous.
I guess we're all set here in raffle land.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
What do we got up for the next meeting,
Well,
everybody?
hold it. Andrew wanted to say something about the Hollywood, I
Well,
think.
Oh,
And that is the next meeting, as a matter of fact.
I was trying to do a segue.
Oh, yeah. You're way ahead of me,
Yes.
dude.
Coon stepped all over me.
Yeah, you're way ahead. You're smart enough to figure it out.
I'll give you.
Go ahead, Eric.
We judged it on Sunday, and we judged it synchronously. And I'm going to suggest that we judge our monthly competitions that way because it went pretty well. And I think David and Eric are okay with that. We had 52 entrants. We had 206 images. We had 90 acceptances. And I will not tell you who the winners are yet, or will I?
No,
No, not yet. Not yet.
Let's
Okay.
tune in at the
So,
next
so
meeting.
yeah. If you'd like to see the all of the accepted images from the Hollywood exhibition and learn who the award winners are, come to our next club meeting at this same bat channel, la3d.club on Zoom on December 17th, third Thursday of December. And it will be our Hollywood exhibition night.
Yeah, it's already been judged, so it's too late to enter.
Yeah. The entries closed November 1st, and judging was on the 15th of November. And
We'll have it again next year.
We ended up having to judge it virtually, but we did it synchronously, where all the judges were on together.
So it's just like the real election, when the votes are all in, but you don't know what the results are yet.
We do, but we're not announcing them yet.
It's not being contested, as far as I know.
Oh, I refuse to accept it.
Okay, so we know.
You know, I didn't win.
Okay. Well, I wanted to thank everybody for participating. Andrew for doing the Hollywood, Eric for doing everything he does, keeping this running smoothly, and Valerie for doing show and tell, and David Starkman and Susan Pinsky for the archives, and everybody else who's on the board. That we have an extra meeting, board meetings every month now. So if you're interested in being on the board, contact me. We have plenty of work to go around. So thank you. So this ends the plan part of the meeting. Eric will take over now, and this is kind of the social hour. Thanks.
Thank you.
I've got a show and ask.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I share my screen a sec?
I mean, we're gonna have to figure out what it is.
Yeah, I'm hunting for some knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see it, George.
Does anybody know what this thing is? This was
Sure,
at
it's
somebody's
part of
house.
the
It seems like it's a roll film back with that attachment, and I didn't see any name on it, and I just took a quick picture.
Can you show the other side of it, or did you have?
No, I just took the one picture. But
Does it have an accordion with so the lens pops out?
No bellows. No, that looks like some kind of
Looks like a lens board.
something.
It's a back, a roll back.
Hinged. It's a rollback for film.
Well, what's the piece that's leaning against the box?
I think it's on a hinge here.
Oh, I see.
And then this closes down.
Is there, on the other side, is there places for two film spools? You know, like 120 roll film or something?
Yeah. Here's it's a take up on one end and, the holder on one end and then a take up on the other end.
Because there were film backs like this made for, there were glass plate or sheet film cameras made in the 1910s and 20s and 30s, like the Hydoscope, the Voigtlander stereoflectoscope, and there were film backs, but the aperture area in the middle of that back doesn't look wide enough to cover the two lenses of, to be wide enough to be the right. Oh, wait, no, that's just the back part of it. Yeah. So yeah, it could be a film back for one of those cameras. It depends on what's on the other side. If it was made to slip onto a 6x13 format camera, it's like 2.25 inch pictures side by side.
I don't know if this little thing shifts back and forth.
Well, is that a spring-loaded back?
Just the pressure plate?
Yeah, pressure plate.
Yeah, but
It looks like maybe it was designed that you could use that back with either roll film or a plate.
Yeah, but it's definitely a pressure plate. But that little, if you enlarge the thing, that dark area where there's like a little silver round, look like something would scratch the film, or that's just where they attached a spring on the other side or something. But You don't want to scratch the film, but there's
No.
guides on each side here. So
Up here.
yeah,
Is that little circle on the left aperture? Is that a red window for looking at the film number,
I don't think so.
frame number? Oh, is there a red window on the back somewhere?
No.
no,
Then
I
then
think
would
I
doubt
think it's
'cause
right. It was for a kit plate thing, and you put the plate on there and close it up and take the picture.
On a view camera, like maybe a step down from a 4x5 to a
Yeah,
2.5. Okay, that could be. Okay.
that's really
Thank-
interesting. Whatever it is.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. And here's my Minolta belt buckle. I've been a Minolta guy for decades until I got the Fuji W3. Thanks, guys.
That was interesting. Thank you.